Hello Luminaires and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about my first constructed meta deck and my experiences building it, testing it, and playing competitions with it. This video is less about the deck itself and more about my experiences selecting, testing, and actually going out and playing this deck. If you've been following my channel, I've been saying my first constructed deck is going to be Amber Steel, and so that's first what I set out to do, is to find the best Amber Steel deck for me. I'd initially tried brewing my own deck, and I did pretty good with that, but I ultimately ended up using a deck that I found online that was much better than anything I'd brewed on my own. Let me put this deck in front of you so I can show you what it's made up of. So I have to give credit to Steadfast and Ducky for this deck, as this deck is heavily inspired by the video I'm going to link here, and I'll put in the description down below. So I played with this deck in 2 in-person competitions this week. One was early this week, and one was actually just yesterday. The first competition had 8 people. It was best of 1, 3 rounds, and I ended up losing 2 and winning 1. In the second competition, it was 24 people, and it was best of 3, 3 rounds, and I ended up actually being undefeated with one other person in that tournament. And when I say undefeated, I mean that I played 6 games, and I did not lose a single one. So I think the process that I used works, and I'm here to share that process with you today, so that hopefully you can follow it and do well in tournaments as well. That second tournament that I played in had a store credit prize, and they also gave a booster pack to everybody that participated, and so I'm going to open that booster pack in this video today. I'll come to that later, but for now, let's get back to the deck. What I played with before this was decks that did not have Ariel. I knew from the get-go that I wanted to have the Tinkerbell combo, where you use the tiny Tink, and then you shift onto the giant Tinkerbell, and then you sing grab your sword. It's just one of my favorite combos in the game. And I knew I wanted Rapunzel in this deck. If you've been following my channel, you know that Rapunzel gifted with healing has been my white whale card. And still today, I only have one of those cards. So then I've been supplementing Tinkerbell and Rapunzel with a whole bunch of different variants. I tried the heavy aggro decks where you use Lilo and Simba, and then you also use Stitch and Moana and just go very, very aggressively aggro. And I've tried more control heavy decks where I use Fire the Cannons and Captain Hook to bring it back with Smash. And these were all very good. I liked them a lot. But none of them compared even close to this deck that has Ariel in it. In those other decks that I played, it was definitely Tinkerbell and Rapunzel that were stars of the show, that was no doubt. But now that we're adding Ariel, we have 3 stars of the show, which gives you a much higher chance of finding those cards that you want. One could argue that Lilo and Simba are a star duo, and I'd agree with that, but they tend to be better in the early game, and you do definitely need to have them both in order for it to work out the way you want it to. Don't get me wrong, it's a great combo, I'm just not using it here. With the deck that includes Ariel in it, the first time I played it, I just went online, looked at the deck, didn't really watch the whole video, played a couple games on Pixelborn, and then went to the competition and played it. In the competition, proxies were allowed, so everyone was playing complete or near complete meta decks. I wholeheartedly believe the mistake I was making here is that I kept hanging on to cards in the mulligan phase that I shouldn't have. I was hanging on to cards like Be Our Guest and Grab Your Sword, just in case I needed them. Oh, and actually Smash for the same reason. And then I was keeping Hans and Cerberus and Beast because I thought they were going to be powerful cards for me. Which those are great cards, but they're not really game changers for this specific deck. And then one more mistake I was making is I was inking cards like Ariel in the early game in favor of other cards that got me more lore, like Moana and Beast. But really, you gotta keep Ariel in that early game. It's so important. But here's the thing. It wasn't immediately obvious to me what these mistakes were. I don't think I would have figured that out on my own. I figured it out by going back and watching the original videos by the authors of this deck. I paid attention, I listened, I reviewed, I took it back to Pixelborn, and I tested it out again. Through my testing the deck on Pixelborn, I made a couple very small tweaks, which I'll show in a minute, and then I took it to my next in-person competition, and I knew what I was doing, and I did really well. One final comment I want to make before walking you through the full deck. Proxies were allowed in both of these competitions, and so I was able to supplement my deck by adding 4 proxies to get a full meta deck. I've been calling some of the other decks that I played against near meta because they didn't have proxies in their deck to make a full meta deck, and a couple of them only needed 3 or 4 cards to make it full meta. If you're playing a competition, check to see if they allow proxies, and do add and supplement to your deck so that you can have a really good competitive deck when you go. The first video I ever added to this channel was about making proxies, so if you need some information about that, I'll add a link right here and also in the description down below. The video itself is a little out of date, so check out the comments for information on more up-to-date information, or feel free just to reach out to me in the comments of that video or this video. With all that, I'm going to transition over and walk you through every single card in this deck. First, I'm going to start off the well-known combo of Tinkerbell Tiny Tactician, Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, and Grab Your Sword. This popular combo allows you to play Tinkerbell Giant Fairy on your 4th turn and sing Grab Your Sword to deal with aggro decks if needed. Tinkerbell Tiny Tactician has the ability Battle Plans, lets you draw a card and then choose and discard a card. This ability is great if you need to dig for a card that you don't currently have in your hand. Tinkerbell Giant Fairy has the ability Rock the Boat that lets you deal 1 damage to each opposing character when you play the card. And then also Puny Pirate that during your turn, whenever you banish a character, you can deal 2 damage to a chosen opposing character. And then Grab Your Sword is a song that lets you deal 2 damage to each opposing character. When playing this 3-card combo, sometimes it's appropriate to use the Puny Pirate ability, and sometimes it's better just to sing and use Grab Your Sword. It really just depends on what the other player has on their board. The next card in this deck is Rapunzel, gifted with healing. She has the ability Gleam and Glow, that when you play this character, remove up to 3 damage from one of your characters, and draw 1 card for each damage removed this way. This card is just a fantastic card in any deck, and it really is your primary source of draw power in this deck. You typically only want to play this card after you've dealt a little bit of damage and taken a little bit of damage. And obviously you always want to try to banish the other player, but sometimes it's not about banishing the player, it's just about drawing more cards. Because this card is best when you maximize the healing and draw power of the card. The next card in the deck is Ariel, Spectacular Singer. This is a 3-cost card that lets you sing songs up to 5. So naturally, Ariel, Spectacular Singer could be singing Grab Your Sword on the 4th turn. And we'll talk a bit more about some of the other song cards we're adding to the deck later on here. But before we get there, note her ability, Musical Debut. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a song card and put it into your hand. Put the rest of the cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is just an amazing ability in the early game because the song cards that we're going to add will actually allow us to get more ink and have more cards in our hand early on. So there's a little bit of draw power that we're getting from this card as well. The next card we have in the deck is Moana of Motunui. This card's quite good. It's a 5-cost card. It quests for 3 lore. And her ability, We Can Fix It, is pretty good as well. It actually saved me in a couple games. It allows you to re-ready all your princesses when this character quests. And even though your only other 2 princesses here are Rapunzel and Ariel, you have some great combo opportunities. For instance, with Ariel, you can have her quest, and then you have her get re-readied when you quest with Moana, and then Ariel can sing a song. And then with Rapunzel, you can do something similar where you quest for 2 lore, and then you re-ready her when Moana quests, and then you can actually use Rapunzel to challenge another character and take a little bit of damage. You don't even need to banish them, and that way in the future turn, if you have another Rapunzel in your hand, you can play that to then heal that other Rapunzel. I've done this in a couple games now, and so have been really impressed by Moana Motunui's We Can Fix It ability. So much so that I decided to put 3 of these in my deck, opposed to what I saw from Steadfast and Ducky's video, where I think they only put 2. For the next 2 cards in this deck, we have Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist, and Prince Eric, Dashing and Brave. These are both challenger cards, and so the primary purpose is really just to slow down the other player while you're working up to your bigger cards. I like the Prince Eric card quite a bit more than the Captain Hook because he has 3 willpower, and so you have the potential to take 2 damage, and then later play Rapunzel to heal him for 2 and draw 2 cards. Your potential there with Captain Hook is only to draw 1. If you have both of these cards on your board and you have a choice of which one to challenge with, it's typically going to be better to challenge with Prince Eric, just so you can get that potential draw power. The next card in the deck is Hans, 13th in line, who has the ability Stage a Little Accident, that whenever this character quests, you may deal 1 damage to a chosen character. This character and ability are great because you can be questing for 2 lore and just constantly slowly picking away at your opponent's characters. The next character is Beast, Hard-Headed, who has the ability Break, that when you play this character, you may banish a chosen item. There's very few cards in the game that can actually banish items, and this is one of them. You primarily have this card in your hand when you're playing against Sapphire decks that have a lot of items, or Ruby decks that have a lot of items, as those decks can be highly dependent on the items that they play. But if you're not playing against one of those 2, you might want to just consider using this for ink instead of actually playing the card. Obviously it depends on what other cards you have in your hand. But looking at the next card, Cerberus, 3-headed dog, he has a much stronger stat line of 5 strength and 6 willpower. And so depending on what you're up against, Cerberus is often able to deal more damage and survive longer than Beast, so you just kind of have to gauge your opponent. And the last character in this deck is Stitch, Carefree Surfer. This is an expensive character to play, but he also has the ability that if you have 2 more characters in play, you can draw 2 cards. And if you're at the point in the game where you and your opponent are top decking, this can make all the difference to get you ahead. Okay, now let's look at the other songs for Ariel. First is Be Our Guest. Similar to the Tiny Tink, this allows you to dig for cards if you're not finding the characters that you need. It's also, honestly, just really good for ink. Next, we have Hakuna Matata, which is almost primarily for ink. I think I've yet to play a game where I actually utilize the action on this song, but who knows, maybe I will one day. And the last song is Part of Your World, which lets you return a card from your discard to your hand. This is great for returning the giant Tinkerbells or Rapunzels, whatever you need at the time, back to your hand. If you sum up the counts of all the song cards in this deck, there's 14 total, so that gives you statistically a pretty good chance of finding one of those when you play Ariel. And then last, let's look at the 2 actions that we have in this deck. First is Smash, which gives us a little bit of extra control. And the other is You Have Forgotten Me, which is a very circumstantial card that forces your opponent to discard 2 cards. But in the times that you need it, it is so useful. If you're playing against a Ruby or a Steel deck, and the opponent has only 2 cards in their hand, or even 1 card, this card is like an absolute play, because there's a really good chance that one of those 2 cards is going to either be Grab Your Sword, Whole New World, Be Prepared, or Dragonfire. And you really don't want those players to have those cards in their hand. And then if you're playing an aggro deck, this card has the potential of putting your opponent into top decking mode, which gives you the upper hand when you're playing cards that allow you to draw more than your opponent. I honestly use You Have Forgotten Me more for ink than anything else, but in those circumstances where I do get to use it, it's a game changer. Now looking at card counts, we have 4 of each of the core cards of the Tinkerbells, Grab Your Sword, Rapunzel, and Ariel. Only 3 of Moana, as we want to make room for the other cards. 4 of each Captain Hook and Prince Eric, as these are our only 1 and 2 cost characters. 3 of each Hans and Beast, as we want to continue to make room for the other cards. Only 2 of Cerberus. It's a solid card, but also it's a vanilla card that does not have an ability we can utilize. And then 4 of Stitch, Carefree Surfer, which is actually more often ink than played, and so it's nice to have enough of these to be able to play them later on if we need them. And then 4 of each Be Our Guest and Hakuna Matata, and just as a reminder, these cards are more often used for ink, as Ariel could potentially draw them with her ability. Only 2 of Part of Your World. It's a great card, but it's uninkable. And that reminds me that one of the strengths of this deck is how consistent it is. The entire deck only has 6 uninkable cards. So we want to be careful about messing up that consistency by adding too many uninkables. And then we have 4 of each smash and You Have Forgotten Me. If you sum up all the action cards and song cards in this deck, there's a total of 22 action cards, which is quite a lot. It's a little unfortunate that Smash and You Have Forgotten Me are not song cards, so Ariel can't dig for them, but we'll certainly keep an eye out for more song cards in future decks. The total card count of this deck is actually 61 opposed to 60. I just had such a hard time deciding which card to remove, so I just decided to go ahead and leave that one extra card. As I mentioned earlier, I really made very few modifications to this compared to what Steadfast and Ducky did, and to point out those changes, it's that I added 1 extra Moana, 1 less Beast, and 1 extra You Have Forgotten Me. For the constructed tournament I played in, I actually had to add 4 proxies total. It was 3 Rapunzel Gifted with Healing and 1 Stitch Carefree Surfer. If I ended up playing in a tournament that did not allow proxies, I think I'd be okay with 1 less Stitch, but I would really have to go out there and find some more Rapunzels, which are relatively expensive right now. I think I could maybe get away with having only 3 Rapunzels in the deck, but this deck shines so much from having Rapunzel in it that I don't think I could play this deck with any less than 3. I'd mentioned before that I made some mistakes when first playing this deck, and one of the main places that I made mistakes was in the drawing and mulliganing. By practicing and perfecting my mulligan, it made such a big difference in my games. One simple and easy to remember rule for this deck is that you may think you want to keep some action cards, but you really don't. You should mulligan all of them and just search for characters in that initial draw. You'll get more actions and songs as you're playing the game. There's a couple different ideal paths to follow, and it's really hard to say which one's best because it really depends on what your opponents have done. But I can say with a high amount of certainty, you most always want to play Captain Hook and Prince Eric on turns 1 and 2, so try to keep those in your hand, only 1 of each. And then if you can get Tiny Tink and Giant Tinkerbell in your hand, that's a great turn 3 and 4. But you're not always necessarily going to draw those cards, so if you had an Ariel in your hand, I'd definitely keep at least 1 of those as well. Ariel is such a good card in the early game, I haven't decided if I only want to keep 1 or if I'd want to keep multiples, and I think I'm going to have to play a bit more to really decide for sure, but my intuition says to keep all the Ariels that you get. And then the same goes for Rapunzel, because you're just getting so much draw power out of that card. I'd pretty much mulligan any other card that's not one of these 6 cards. Well, there you have it. It's my first constructed deck. It was a lot of fun discovering, testing, and competing with this deck. One last shout out to Steadfast and Ducky. I really appreciate them sharing this deck for others to see. And next here, I'm going to switch over to open the pack that I got from playing my last constructed tournament. And then I'm going to include a couple of the games I played in Pixelborn with this deck, so you can see how the gameplay goes. And then of course, as a reminder, if you like this video, if you like this content, you want to see more of it, please like, subscribe, and comment below, because all those things help me grow my channel and help me make more content like this in the future. Now let's find out what's in that booster pack. All right, here it is, the one pack I got from the competition. Let's check out and see what's in here. All right, so for our common, we have Healing Glow, Dr. Facilier, Horus, Jasmine, Elsa, Cerberus, and for our uncommons, we have Fan the Flames, Anna, Mad Hatter. Oh, I love Mad Hatter. And then let's see what we got for our first rare. Got a Magic Mirror. Second rare. Ooh, super rare, Stitch Rockstar. I love this card. Who doesn't love Stitch Rockstar? And then for a foil, we got a common Jafar. So Magic Mirror is great. I do have 4 of those already. And Stitch Rockstar is great. I love this card, but I think I've pulled something like 8 of them. This is the most pulled super rare that I have so far. It's a good card to have for trading though, so it's not horrible. And then the foil Jafar, it's okay, it's a common. But that's my pack. All right, so I go first. This is great. All right, in the mulligan, don't need any actions. I don't need these high cost cards. Rapunzel's great. Tinkerbell's great. Grab your sword, don't need that. So we're only gonna keep 2. Okay, good. Ariel. Kingdom Matata will be ink. Another Ariel, Party of World. So not a lot of low cost cards. So we're not gonna be able to play it until turn 3. But this could be okay depending on what they play. Just waiting for their turn. Okay, so they're going to go aggro. This might not be great. This could be complicated for us. So I'm going to ink You Have Forgotten Me, because I'm assuming that we're not going to strategically use that in this game. We'll see, though. It's not a great start to not be able to do anything about this Lilo here. Could smash them. I'm gonna ink smash. I'm just gonna really hope that I can get a grab your sword to take care of that Lilo. Which we did not get. I'll take a Kuna Matata for ink. I should have actually played the Ariel first. That's what I should have done. But I can use Hans to just take out Lilo directly. I think that'll be good. So get rid of Hakuna Matata. You know, I'm kind of wondering if I should take a risk and just play another Ariel and hope for a grab your sword. That's pretty risky because the chances of that are pretty low, but then I could at least wipe their high characters here, their high cost characters. The safer bet would be to play Hans. They're going to already have 10 on the next turn. So this is really kind of tricky decision. I'm going to take the risk and go for grab your sword. Oh, and I got it. Oh, this is great. Okay. So then we'll sing the song, Grab Your Sword, with Ariel. That played out really, really well. And then I think there's nothing else for me to do this turn. There was a risk worth taking. I mean, I played 2 Ariels, and so the chances are I should have seen at least one grab your sword between the 2 of them. All right, double Simba. At this point, I want to take a little bit of damage and draw some cards, so I'll go ahead and challenge the Simba. And then we'll play Rapunzel to heal and draw some cards. And I don't need this many Tinkerbells, Tiny Tinks, so we'll get rid of those, keep Smash for a later turn. And then I would really like to get a big Tinkerbell, so I'm going to sing Part of Your World. Can I not sing that? Oh, Not sure what's happening there, but I'll go ahead and I guess I'll quest for one. Maybe it just wasn't getting highlighted. Okay, so for this, I'm gonna get Hans out there so we can start dealing with Cusco on the next turn. Oh, you can't choose him because of Ward. That was a mistake. That was definitely a mistake. I can't choose him for Smash either. So the best bet would be, yeah, let's do Part of Your World. How come I can't play Part of Your World? Is it bugged? Huh. Okay. That's worrisome. Okay, I'm gonna ink a Stitch. We'll just quest with everybody. Oh, I forgot about Ward. That's tricky. I'll see what they bring back with Hades here. I think I might be about the point where I can start. They brought back a Simba. Interesting. Simba for ink. What do they have? I guess their choices weren't great. Just playing what they have. So really, I think I want to go for maximizing. What do I want to do here? I do think I want to take out Cusco. Slow him down. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Oh, they've got a bodyguard Simba though first. Okay, we will take care of Simba by selecting him like this. and then just challenging with an Ariel. I'm going to draw some more cards because drawing cards is great. So let's get rid of... I'm going to go for getting a lot of lore. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Cerberus and play Stitch to hopefully get more cards that I can play. Didn't get anything, but that's okay. I'll quest. Actually, I want to take care of Cusco, so I think what I'm going to do, I'll quest with Rapunzel for the 2 lore, but I'm going to go ahead and do damage now with Ariel. And the reason for that is that hopefully I can have an opportunity to take him out pretty quickly in the next turn with one of my other characters that I don't care about. So I've got these 2 Ariels, and I probably will take him out with one of those, or I could draw Grab Your Sword, in which case I would be able to take him out with 1 hit. Okay, so I need to be careful here. I am looking for a Grab Your Sword, so I'm going to go ahead and play Rapunzel to heal Ariel. Okay, no Grab Your Sword, but I can play a Smash, take out Hans. And I do want to take out Cusco. This will banish my character, so I'll just go ahead and do that with an Ariel. And at this point, I think I'm just going to quest with everybody. And then I'll take the extra ink. I'll take whatever ink I can get here. We'll ink Tinkerbell. And I mean, I'm pretty much at the point where like they could play something amazing, but I'll just play Captain Hook for the extra lore if I need it. I don't think there's anything they could do, but I guess if they could play, I guess if they could play 2 Grab Your Swords maybe, but I don't think they can do that with the amount of ink that they have in their inkwell. They could do, yeah, that's basically game. It's a good game. That poll where I was able to get the Grab Your Sword with Ariel came at just the right time, and that made a huge difference here because the game is close. I wonder if they're just weighing their options. It's not gonna do anything. It's waiting it out. That should be it. So that should be game. I'll go ahead and just quest just to get the job done. Awesome. Nice. Nice game. Alright, go first in this one. I like going first. Don't need Stitch, don't need Smash, don't need You Forgot Me, no actions needed. These 3 are great. I'll keep those. Oh, this is a good lineup. It's a really good lineup. Okay, so I don't need 2 Prince Erics. We'll get rid of one of those. And we will play Captain Hook. So yeah, basically want to play Prince Eric next turn, then Ariel, and then if it can take some damage with some of my cards, we'll play Rapunzel. I missed the ink. I missed what they inked, unfortunately. I wasn't paying attention. But we'll get Prince Eric out there and quest with Captain Hook. Need to pay attention. Okay, so steal. So I'll play Ariel. I actually don't really necessarily care what kind of song to get in this next turn. Raise Your Sword would be great, or Grab Your Sword. Okay, we'll ink Kuna Matata. That's what that card's there for. Play Ariel. Oh, yeah, let's do grab your sword. So we can have that for a future turn. I will go ahead and quest with Captain Hook. I'm going to keep Eric around. I don't want to quest with him quite yet. I don't mind if Prince Eric challenges Captain Hook here and takes 1 damage. That wouldn't bother me at all. Okay, so Steel Emerald. I said I don't mind. You know, it's fine. I guess that's fine. Here, I'm gonna play another Ariel. I'll take another grab your sword. It seems kind of premature to use these grab your sword cards. I think what I'm gonna do, I want to keep my ink going, keep my ink flowing. So I'm gonna ink Beast, and I'm gonna play. Oh, I can't play any other cards. I'm out of cards to work with. Oh gosh, this is a tricky one because I honestly wouldn't mind if they took these out. But I'm going to slow them down as well, I think. So I'll go ahead and use grab your sword. And then with Prince Eric, I'll quest for 1. So if he wants to challenge me and trade, I'd be okay with that. Really, trading either one of these would be okay. No, they have a... Okay, yeah, this is fine. I think so. This isn't going to be an issue. We'll take a little bit of a risk by letting my card count get down this low. Get rid of Tinkerbell. So this puts me in kind of a crummy spot because I mean I think I just need to start questing, and I would really prefer to draw some cards, but I don't want to ink either of these. You know, maybe I'll just give it 1 more turn. Well, no, I need to start playing them. Unfortunately, because I want to start getting to that. I just want to start building up ink, or not ink. I want to start building up my lore, and they're falling behind right now. So I do have a good opportunity here to get ahead. Would it be silly for me to play? So he challenges and does 3 damage. I think I'm going to go ahead and quest with Rapunzel. And I do want to play more cards for ink, but at the same time, I almost want him to challenge so that I can use my other Rapunzel. And then I'm going to keep these 2 around. I don't want him taking these 2 out. You know, I guess I would be okay if he took out Rapunzel, because then I would just come back and use Smash on him. He does gain 1 lore for that, but at the same time, I think I'm okay to make that trade. I obviously lose Ariel to use grab your sword, but I think right now I just kind of want to run away with lore, so I'm okay to do that. Please grab your sword on me. This is going to give me some draw power. I think I'm going to end up playing all my cards this turn. Okay, so let's draw cards with Rapunzel. And I obviously can't play Smash this turn. I'm going to ink Be Our Guest. And I'm not going to sing the song, and I'm not going to quest right now. I will play Captain Hook for the extra challenging potential. Ah, that sucks. That really sucks. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that to hopefully slow them down. I will sing grab your sword. And smash. I don't think I want to ink either of these because I'm just going to keep putting on the pressure. It's better for me to have the more cards and see what they end up playing. Play Ariel, see if we get a song we want. It's okay. It's fine-ish. I can ink that. And I'll just quest with everybody. Oh, they chose to challenge me. That's interesting. I don't know if I was expecting that. Okay, so they put cards back in my hand. I don't think I'm gonna need Beast right now. I'm gonna play Ariel. No songs, unfortunately. I think they're just gonna continue to challenge me. And I do want to draw more cards next turn. They're gonna be questing for 5, which is quite a bit. If I quest with Rapunzel now, then I only need 2 more turns of questing. I think I'm gonna go ahead and quest with her. Is that a bad move though? It slows them down from challenging. So let's just go ahead and do that. That seems like the right thing to do. And then we'll pass. A little bit worried that I'm not going to get the card draw from Stitch if they do challenge her and banish her, which they did. But it kind of depends on what we get in this next turn. I mean, there's another Rapunzel. Am I worried about them drawing cards if I play Rapunzel here? I don't think I am. Stitch, though, gives me... Let's see. If I actually play Rapunzel and Stitch... Sorry, Rapunzel and You Have Forgotten Me, I'll really be slowing them down quite a bit. So I am actually going to ink Stitch. I am going to challenge. I'll draw 2 cards with that. So next turn I can quest for 3, which isn't quite enough to win it. I will go ahead and play You Have Forgotten Me to give them no choice. And then we'll pass. This is all I really needed now, because now I'll just go ahead, and this is going to give me something to draw as well. I'll go ahead and do this to draw 2 extra cards, quest with Rapunzel, and we'll give it 1 more turn to see if they can do anything with that. I don't think they can. I don't think they can do anything without my Stitch. I think that's game. Very good. Good game. I think it was kind of rough for them because as an aggro deck, they didn't get a very, if I remember this game, they didn't get a very good initial draw of aggro. So it was an interesting matchup. That's game. Cool. Okay, so go second on this one. I always like going first. Sorry if you heard that. That was my automatic door locking. So we don't need any songs, no actions. Hans isn't really useful early on, but Tinkerbell and Ariel are great. Okay, we got Prince Eric. I think that was worthwhile. Missed with the inked, but the steel deck. Okay, so for our first ink, I'm gonna get rid of Be Our Guest. I don't think we need that at this point. I'm keeping 2 Tinkerbells. I'm not sure if I need them both or not, but kind of just depends on if we draw Tinkerbell. All right, let's. I think this. Okay, we'll get rid of Tinkerbell at this point because we have the Ariels. Play Prince Eric. What I'd really like to do is I'd like to challenge Stitch with Prince Eric and take 2 damage. Okay, so they're doing the Ariel deck as well. Although I have a different early game. I've got the challenging early game. You Have Forgotten Me could be really, really effective. So I'm gonna hang on to that. And then I'm not seeing the big Tinkerbell yet, so I think I'm gonna go ahead. Although actually with their deck, I don't think I'm gonna need Beast, so we'll get rid of that one. And let's play Ariel. And this is great. I will definitely take Grab Your Sword and put Hans on top. And I'm okay. Am I okay if they challenge me? I'm not, because I would rather, again, play the Rapunzel. I'd rather take a little bit of damage with him strategically and then be able to draw some cards. Ideally, it would be Ariel. They'd quest with Ariel. I'd take the damage, and then I would sing Grab Your Sword to wipe them. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to quest with her or not. I don't think they will. You know, I think I'm gonna delay playing the Rapunzel. I'm definitely gonna go ahead and take the damage here. But I think I'm gonna play You Have Forgotten Me to just really mess them up. I don't know what they have, obviously. We'll play that. And then I'm okay to quest with Ariel, I think, but I think I want to... Yeah, I'm okay to quest with Ariel because ultimately, if they end up taking one of these out, it's not a big deal. I'll play Rapunzel on either one of them. And, you know, Grab Your Sword could take care of them right now, but I think with a card count that I have, I'm going to hold on to that and hopefully... this actually will be interesting to see if they quest with Ariel. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they will. Oh, they did. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted because now I can deal damage like this. I can heal like this. And then I'm not going to be playing these Tinkerbells. I don't need those. I'll go ahead and ink it. And I think that just puts me in a really good spot right now. I'm not really too afraid of their questing capabilities. I'll be interested to know if they decide to take out my Ariel. That would be kind of weird, I think, but I would be okay if they do that. And if they have Rapunzel, they can heal and draw cards as well. Okay, they've got this Tinkerbell. This is a trade, okay. That was a good call because I have Grab Your Sword. I think I'm going to double smash their Tinkerbell. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I don't need a tiny Tinkerbell. I'll go ahead and quest. So really I'm just trying to to keep them from drawing cards right now and try to keep them from playing effective cards. Is there anything I want to bring back? I don't think so. I think at this point it's now time to just start playing cards. So Moana will give me a lot. Moana will let me sing Grab Your Sword, so I'm going to play that one first. And then I don't think I'm going to ink anything else. Or should I? Maybe I'll ink. I think Hans is just going to be really helpful for me. I'm just going to wait. Oh, I should have quested with Rapunzel. What was I thinking? I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. I was too hasty to click pass. But yeah, I could probably just sing. Okay, so they got a heal there. Yeah, that was a pretty big mistake to not have quested with Rapunzel there. That's silly. Okay, but I am going to go ahead and sing Grab Your Sword with Rapunzel. Or not with Rapunzel, with Moana. And I'm going to quest for 2 with this character this time by not making that same mistake twice. And then I will go ahead and play Hans to allow me to do the direct damage to these other characters. And hanging on to Stitch to let me draw more cards if I need to. So we're going to take care of the Rapunzel. And kind of interesting, I think I'm going to quest with Moana because she just gives me so much more. And we'll play Grab Your Sword directly. And I'm not too worried about their Simba dealing damage to me here. Oh, I forgot that I get to re-ready princesses. That's awesome. Thank you, Moana. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink Beast. I don't need that one. I'm not going to need it. And then what do I want to bring back? Is there anything I want to bring back? I don't think so. I'm just checking out to see if I want to play Party of World. So we'll play Stitch and draw 2 cards. I'm going to go ahead and ink. Let's see. I've got +9. Okay, they conceded. Good. Good game. That was a fast one.